Jungkook and Jimin's world tour leaked. Without BTS? What's really happening behind the curtain? It didn't come through an official press release. There was no teaser video, no cryptic countdowns, no stylized concept photos flooding timelines. Instead, the world's attention was quietly seized by a hotel reservation in Paris. And now, the silence surrounding Jungkook and Jimin has never been louder. What exactly is Moonlight and Gold? Why are stadiums across 3 continents booked under anonymous aliases? And why are Jungkook and Jimin, 2 of K-pop's most iconic forces, allegedly preparing for the most anticipated comeback in modern Korean music, not as BTS, but without it? At the center of this mystery are 2 initials, JM and JK. They've appeared in reservation records from Tokyo to Madrid, Paris to Chicago, Seoul to Los Angeles. Every venue, every shipment, every shadowy logistic trail converges on a single conclusion. Something massive is underway. But the question isn't whether it's real. The question is, why now? And why without BTS? This unraveling began in the most innocuous of ways. A fan, well known within BTS tracking circles, discovered a curious hotel block in Paris, anonymous, yet suspiciously timed. Initially, it seemed like coincidence. Then came Tokyo, followed by Madrid. Then Chicago, Seoul. The pattern revealed itself not through press, but through persistence. Each location booked under separate shell identities, each lacking any published event listing. Still, insiders in concert logistics confirmed what many had only dared whisper. It wasn't speculation. These were internal holds. And internal holds mean intent. They mean contracts. They mean someone somewhere is preparing for war. The code name? Moonlight and Gold. No label. No company tag. But anyone who knows BTS history understands what those words mean. Moonlight. Delicate, graceful, emotional, Jimin. Gold, versatile, precise, unshakable, Jungkook. A pairing not just born of shared stages, but forged through mutual survival in an industry designed to split bonds rather than build them. It's not just a tour, it's a resurrection. And it may very well be the most personal comeback K-pop has ever witnessed. Sources indicate development began in early 2025, while both artists were still enlisted. Yet, no official materials were ever released, not even a rumor from agency-level communications. Instead, the movements were buried under layers of strategic silence. Trucks arriving at midnight. Production staff traveling internationally under secrecy. Venue holds requested with post-dated announcement clauses. And above it all, no word, nothing from either Jungkook or Jimin. This isn't normal. This is design. Jimin's public reappearance post-military has been gentle, cautious, and almost absent of noise. His album Muse, dropped during enlistment in July 2024, quietly soared in charts despite minimal promotion. The project became a whispering storm, one of the most critically adored solo efforts in K-pop memory, all while its owner served in silence. Jungkook, on the other hand, has remained largely invisible. After being released from military service slightly ahead of schedule, the world expected a solo explosion. His pre-enlistment Project Golden broke barriers, and back-to-back viral singles proved his unmatched range and global magnetism. Yet he chose not to return. Why? According to those closest to the operation, the answer was direct. I'll come back when he does. That he, of course, was Jimin. This isn't marketing. This is loyalty. Moonlight and Gold isn't a showcase of nostalgic BTS remnants. This isn't an echo of the OT7 dream. This is 2 artists, bound by something deeper than career strategy, returning to the stage not as idols, but as equals. Independent, yet inseparable. The arenas booked aren't just logistics, they're sanctuaries. And the silence? It's strategy. Concert industry insiders, those who recognize what's required to prepare for a global tour, have confirmed the indicators. Production sets moved without public schedule, stylist teams booked for dual arrangements, brand filings under newly minted names, and even unreleased trademarks tied to Moonlight and Gold that span merchandise, live rights, and streaming content. It's all there, hidden in plain sight. And perhaps most telling of all, Jungkook allegedly rejected a major four-continent solo tour. The deal was ready, venues locked, sponsors aligned. But he said no, not because he couldn't handle it, but because Jimin wasn't yet ready. "I'm not going without him," he's quoted as telling internal staff. Now, as the final months of 2025 approach, everything points to a singular truth. The time has come. They're not returning as part of a group. They're not returning as soloists. They're returning as something new. Something crafted over years of backstage panic attacks, late-night conversations, and private promises spoken not on stages, but in silence. Fans haven't forgotten the imagery. Jimin wrapping an arm around Jungkook mid-performance. Jungkook pulling Jimin out of breakdowns. Quiet reassurances exchanged mid-concert with just a glance. Now, those glances are returning. Not for the cameras, but for something unfinished. A narrative left open by military enlistments, silence promotions, and the looming presence of a group they helped define. This comeback, if it can even be called that, isn't about commercial domination. It's about fulfillment. About giving Muse the stage it never received. About giving Jungkook the moment he postponed. About resurrecting a dynamic forged in practice rooms and hardened through chaos. Fans no longer clamor for official confirmation. They feel it in the quiet release of unused BTS venues, in the slow, deliberate clearing of schedules, in the whispered insider reports of stage rehearsals. 2 microphones, not 7. This isn't a stunt. It's a culmination. And then there's the symbolism. Moonlight, Jimin's eternal motif. The grace in his movements, the softness in his lyrics, the emotional echo he brings with every breath. Gold, Jungkook's emblem, the standard he sets, the force he carries, the untouchable quality of excellence that defines his every note. Together, they don't just form a name. They form a thesis, a concept, a reason. Industry chatter says the shows will be cinematic, an experience shaped by contrast. Visual storytelling, synchronized emotion, fire and water, heat and hush. These aren't songs, they're scenes. And not of the BTS legacy, but of something that could never exist within it. 2 voices, 1 stage, no backup. Even now, with no poster, no date, no digital trail, fans have begun preparing. Quietly, theories are dissected, maps drawn, savings accounts revisited. Because in every warehouse truck, every customs manifest, every last-minute booking of a European stadium, they read the same message. They're coming. And if they are, then we're witnessing more than a world tour. We're witnessing a reclamation, a rebirth, a promise fulfilled in real time. It's not about headlining anymore. It's about returning as who they truly are. Not just performers, not just singers, not even idols, but 2 men who once built something together before the world knew their names. 2 men who made a vow. When I return, I won't return alone. If Moonlight and Gold is real, and all signs point to yes, it will not be just a concert. It will be an event, a historic landmark carved from silence, loyalty, and timing.
No hashtags, no spoilers.
Just presence, just impact, because sometimes the loudest sound is the one that hasn't been made yet. And that's why, despite no official word, despite no visible promotion, the fandom already knows. Deep down, beyond trends and algorithms, they feel it. This is different. This is real. And this time, they aren't just watching idols rise, they're watching a promise kept. The murmurs have grown louder. The speculation, relentless. And yet, the central question remains disturbingly unanswered. Is this real, or have we all been led into believing a narrative that may not exist at all? It is essential, now more than ever, to pause and reflect. not merely on the content of what we believe we are witnessing, but on the source, the structure, and the strategic implications of that belief itself. The alleged Moonlight and Gold tour, widely linked to Jungkook and Jimin, has penetrated nearly every corner of digital fandom culture. Yet, not a single official statement has been made. No agency confirmation, no media press release, not even an ambiguous hint from the artists themselves. What, then, are we following? The information, while meticulously dissected and passionately amplified, originates largely from online fragments, tweets, fan threads, TikTok videos with voiceovers, airport sightings, unverified images, unconfirmed logistics reports, and speculative venue bookings. Does this constitute evidence? Or are we projecting intention onto a blank canvas of silence? Are we engaging with a factual development? Or are we being lured by a psychological phenomenon? An illusion created not by the artists, but by ourselves. It is critical to ask, who stands to benefit from this frenzy of anticipation? Is it the artists themselves? Or the media systems, algorithms, and influencers that capitalize on speculation, impressions, and engagement metrics? When an entire global fandom begins planning around an event that has not been officially acknowledged, we must question the mechanics of belief. What does it say about the nature of information dissemination in the digital era? The signs are compelling. The aliases, JM and JK. The concert venues marked under mysterious placeholders. The Moonlight and Gold trademark registrations. The movement of production trucks at midnight. But in the absence of verifiable data, how do we distinguish between coordinated marketing silence and collective delusion? One must reflect deeply. Are we observing a hidden strategic launch? Or are we being swept into a cycle of confirmation bias and media manipulation? Even as the fandom celebrates clues, we must examine the cognitive process behind the conclusions being drawn. Are we connecting dots that were never meant to form a picture? Or worse, are we being subtly guided to create a narrative that sustains emotional investment? Regardless of factual accuracy, ask yourself, have you seen direct confirmation from Jungkook or Jimin? Have you heard their voices speak this into existence? If not, why do we believe? To be clear, the intent of this inquiry is not to invalidate the dedication or the emotional resonance of the fans who have followed every detail with precision and sincerity. Their commitment is not in question. What is in question is whether our trust in unverified narratives has outpaced our critical faculties. Why have we, collectively, begun to behave as if a tour exists when, in reality, not a single official detail has been substantiated? Is it possible that the emotional vacuum left in the wake of BTS's temporary disbandment, paired with the military enlistments and long silences, has created a psychological need for reunion, one so strong that it manufactures its own evidence? And if that is the case, are media influencers and content creators complicit in feeding this desire, not out of malice, but for algorithmic visibility and viral relevance? These are not comfortable questions. They are not meant to be, but they are necessary. Even now, some believe the absence of denial is itself a form of confirmation. But is silence truly evidence? Or is it merely empty space being filled with the weight of our expectations? In a digital ecosystem where rumors travel faster than facts and speculation is often more profitable than truth, we must question whether we are becoming participants in an emotional economy, trading belief for belonging, engagement for evidence. We ask again, what if none of this is real? What if the hotel reservations are unrelated? What if the trademarks were filed for other, unrelated projects? What if the whispered logistics were misinterpreted or exaggerated? What if Jungkook and Jimin are not planning a tour at all? What if Moonlight and Gold is a beautiful lie? It is important to recognize that none of this is unprecedented. K-pop history is littered with rumors of reunions, subunits, secret projects, and dramatic comebacks that never materialized. The industry is built, in part, on the management of fan anticipation. Silence can be strategic, but it can also be a void into which we pour our fantasies. Do not take this as dismissal. take it as a necessary recalibration, because belief without scrutiny becomes vulnerability, and emotional investment without confirmation can become manipulation. So we now leave this to you, the reader. You, the fan. You, the interpreter of patterns. Do you believe this tour is real? Or do you believe you want it to be real so badly that it no longer matters? Are we witnessing a reunion of two brothers in music, or the construction of a mirage born from longing and spread by algorithm? And if it is a fabrication, who holds responsibility? The fans? The media? Or a system that thrives on the blurred lines between reality and wishful thinking? In closing, we urge all readers to remain vigilant. Be skeptical. Be reflective. Not because the dream is unworthy, but because clarity is dignity. And no matter how compelling the story, it deserves to be verified before it is believed, because if this turns out to be true, its impact will be historic. But if it is not, then the lesson must be even more powerful. Verify before you believe, reflect before you share, and always question what you think you know. Because in this era, where virality replaces verification and emotion often eclipses truth, the line between reality and illusion may no longer be drawn by facts, but by the integrity of our own discernment.